I think there's about a 20-second delay here, so
Okay.
we will start. Welcome to Town Talk Live with Mayor Colleen Powell. It is February 18th, 2021, and we have a few things to discuss here. It,
Well, good afternoon, Heather.
just hold on, it disappeared off the thing here. Let's see. I'd rather hear us talking about trying to find it than than
Right.
completely lose the stream. It said it went live and then the screen changed. So let's see if we can find it here. So if we are talking live right now, technical difficulties. I'm my own technician.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So,
it keeps bleeping off and on.
oh, there we go. Okay. Well, it's saying live. So, okay. All right. Well, I guess we're live. We get two people watching. So yeah.
Okay, so we do have some people.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's start then.
All right. I've okay. I'm getting some feedback in my headset here, so I'm gonna try and ignore that. Okay, let's start. I flipped my book over. All right, here we go. Intermunicipal development plan.
All right, the IDP. If I wanted to confuse everybody, I could tell you the statutory plans we have done or have to do. The ICF, the IDP, then we do the MDP, then we do the LUB, then and so on. The IDP is an agreement between the town and the county on development around the town and including in the town on that border period. We have one, it's out of date and needs a rewrite. And we need to, it was done 10, 12 years ago. Things have changed. And so we need to look at where do we put development, where do we put industry, where do we put residential, where do we put roads, and so forth. And the usual rule is that if a residential development is coming flat on a town boundary where existing infrastructure exists, they have to meet urban infrastructure.
Okay.
However, not all town residences are up to urban infrastructure. We have some county residential or some acreage developments near the south. So if the county puts a residential development next to them, why should they have to meet our standards? We don't meet those standards. So all of these things have to be worked out. The basic rule is they can't put a pig farm next to our residential development, and we can't put a smokestack next to their organic farms.
Okay.
So you start from that basis and you move on. And it can also get involved in collaborative developments. So for example, if there's an area where it would be of use for both sides to have an industrial area, maybe we can work together on that rather than just saying, well, the line goes through here and this is yours and this is mine. So we have to look at this. The last one probably took too broad an area outside the town.
Okay.
Because there's some acreage developments, which I would consider quite far from the town, that in theory should have urban development standards. It doesn't make any sense. So those things have to be changed. And this is a fairly long process. We're beginning on Monday with an overview from our facilitator, and that's open to all the councils so that it's not just Dave Paholic, Rob Belay, and myself, who are the committee members, knowing what's going on. It really helps if your whole council knows what an important statutory plan is, because every other plan you do has to match the one above it. So our land use bylaw, which determines, what frontage you have, how big the lots are, how high your fences are, and so on, has to match the ideas in the municipal development plan, which has to match what's in the IDP, which has to match what's in the other one, which is a global thing. So did I confuse you already?
No, that's a lot of work. But I think that the town, you only have one IDP to do. right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know. And I feel for the county,
yeah.
sort of.
Sort of, yeah, because they enter into, for people who don't know, they enter into IDPs with Boyle, the summer villages as well. So the work that you do with one, they're doing with
With
many.
many.
Yeah.
That was true with the intercollaboration frameworks, the
Mm.
ICFs. I know everybody's going to turn off as I spout these acronyms. Um, they, by legislation, had to do one with every municipality that was on their borders.
Right. Yes.
And I'm sure it was a nightmare for them. Now, the IDP, in the past, we didn't have to do one, but legislation has changed. So there has to be at least something. Now, ours will be more complex than one of the summer villages, for example, simply
Right.
because we're bigger and we do more things.
Right.
But still, it is onerous for the county council to have to do this.
Yeah. Okay. The library has some exciting programs coming up. I actually wrote an article that'll be coming out, and but there are some other things happening with the library.
Well, they need volunteers. Not today, but within a couple of months, according to John Trainer, who's our library boy, man, I should say, we need 4 volunteers. I am not absolutely sure if, I know we do have county volunteers on the town library board, but I don't know if there's a specific number that has to be from A or B. However, if you are interested in the library, please put your name in. They meet in the evening once a month,
Mhm.
and they need your input. Everybody needs to know what the users are thinking. And I don't have the current numbers in front of me, but the last time I looked, the library had something like 1,500 members.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people. Now, a lot of them don't take books out every week. A lot of them use it to read the newspapers. You're looking at one who does, because you can get free access to almost any magazine or newspaper in the world,
Hmm.
except a couple that I would really like to have, but they don't have them, like the New York Times and the Globe and Mail. But
Right.
um, you want to read the journal every morning and
Hmm.
not get cut out after 3 articles, join the library. Do that. Also, libraries do so many different things these days. And when we open up, they are a community center in their own way.
True.
And they also, you can get videos from them. You can use their computers. There's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Unfortunately, right now you can't, but yes, when they open back up, all of
When it
that.
happens,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a very personal connection to the libraries with in Barhead. My great grandparents actually started the library there. And
Oh,
I
good.
remember my grandmother running the bookmobile. They would drive the bus around to the different outlying communities and stuff. So I don't have time personally to be on that board, but I really hope some people step up. They are truly, truly important to communities, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And over time, they will be building towards a new library.
Yes.
So, and the archives is also part of this, although they're separate. The archives is funded solely by the town. The county does contribute significantly to the library budget.
Hmm. They're
So,
yeah, they're a fantastic resource that even for the paper for some articles I've reached out and gotten historical information about flooding or Amber Valley and things like that. So they're yeah,
our
fantastic.
archives for a community our size are really quite amazing. I'm
Hmm.
impressed with them. And Margaret Anderson is wonderful.
She is.
There you go.
Yeah. FCSS also needs a board member. We'll throw that out there.
Yes, now FCSS meets during the day, and as a result, we often have some trouble finding a volunteer who is able to do volunteer work during the day. But again, this is our major preventative social services agency, and they do amazing work. Um, and we need your help. So please
Mhm.
contact the town in either case. Well, I'm not sure about the library, but yeah, contact us. And then it comes to council and we go stamp and put your name on it and you'll have a volunteer.
All right.
As a side note, we don't pay our volunteers anything.
Right.
It's not going to change.
So that's what volunteering is. So,
Yeah, that's
right.
in the word.
Yeah, it is. You're doing it for the betterment of the whole community.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Council got a letter from a new group, the Athabasca Cares, the shelter project.
Yes, that came to council on Tuesday. And their first meeting, I haven't got the date in front of me, but Ida Edwards will be attending that meeting to gather information to see what our role should be in the future.
Okay. Meeting is March 3rd, but
March 3rd, okay.
yeah. Okay. Any thoughts or anything about this new group or?
I'd like to, it would be nice if people who are interested in this work with homeless people, if we had one group.
Mhm.
That would help our program. The Native Friendship Center's MAP program is wonderful. And we have received information that the problems that were being caused are down significantly. And that's very small a number of people she's able, or I'm speaking of Ms. Houle, but the Native Friendship Center is able to provide a space for. So even that little tiny bit, and it's not tiny really because it took a lot of effort to get that, but that small building is able to significantly reduce our problem.
Yes.
And I'm certainly glad that was there during this last month.
Yes. Very, very cold.
That was pretty incredible especially for a February.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see what the plans are, how they plan to go about doing this, where they're going to be accessing funding, what the ultimate plans are.
Right. But yeah, a little bit of history, because I do have an interest in this group, is the intent is to bring the groups together, make one group a nonprofit so that they can access funding and move forward.
Mhm.
You know, maybe hopefully work in partnership with the Friendship Center. But yeah, there's a lot of groups that talk about wanting to do something. This would bring everybody together and be able to actually move forward. Okay.
Part of it is the problem is not only large, it's incredibly complex. And
Yes.
Accessing expertise again from social services people and other groups is also necessary. And it's just, there is no shelters anywhere near here.
No. No. And there needs to be something.
Well, what solutions can be offered, and then how do we go about filling those solutions that we've come up with?
Right. Exactly. All right. So yes, March 3rd, if anybody is interested in taking part in that meeting, it looks like it will be a Zoom meeting. athabascacares@gmail.com. You can send your information in. You just got funding for the Jubilee Booster Station Looping Project.
Well,
Can
that's
you
an exciting
explain?
title.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yes.
All right. When the high school was built and that subdivision was built, I imagine just looking at the ages of the houses there, the school.
You're talking about the old when the old
The old
EP.
EPC, yes.
Right.
It's either called the South Hill or the EPC Hills, depending on how long you've been here, I think.
Right.
That subdivision, I think, was built a few years after EPC. I'm not absolutely sure of that. But when they put the water and sewer systems in, it was the amount of pressure and flow and all that sort of thing was decided on by the number of people using the system. EPC left and with them took over 600 people.
Mhm.
No longer have 600 odd people using the washroom, washing their hands, using water for various purposes.
Mhm.
As a result, there was some issues in part of the flow at one stage, and we have been injecting water into the system every day to ensure everybody has safe access to safe, pure water.
Mhm.
But it needed a better fix than us putting water into the system. So that's the Jubilee looping project, is to do the pipes in such a way that this will no longer be a problem. And you have now reached the limit of my technical expertise.
Okay, fair
If you
enough.
need more information, I suggest you talk to Rachel.
Okay. Do you happen to remember how much the grant was?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have looked it up. I'm going to say 300,000, but I could be dead wrong on that. But that
Okay.
figure is circulating in my head. We still
Okay.
have only up, I think, another 200. But again, I'm not sure. I mean, we're in a world where that old, some American politician said it's $1 million here, $1 million there. Pretty soon it adds up to real money. That's the world we're in.
Right.
Things
Okay.
are exorbitantly expensive.
Okay. The SIP program, what is the SIP program?
Well, it's there's variations of that name. I can't, Canadian Energy Infrastructure something. It comes out of the MCCACC. Putting it again, Municipal Climate Change Action Committee, and I can't remember the last C. This is a provincial thing. The program basically is this: it's coming to council next council meeting, and we're going to see if we can do this. I would really like to be able to. The idea is that the town borrows money and then keeps that money. And then if you need a new furnace in your house, or you need a new roof, or you need new windows, or you want to put solar panels up, you can access that fund and pay it back on your property taxes. So rather than taking a loan from the bank, this just gets slapped on your property taxes for a period of time. I can't tell you what period yet. We haven't figured that out.
Okay.
If you sell your house, the loan stays with the property, not with you.
Right.
So somebody buying your house would have to know that you're paying X dollars plus this amount, which will end on a certain date, for the improvements that are being made to your house. Now, this program has been in progress, and I know Drayton Valley's one. There's a couple more smaller communities, I think Canmore's one, that are doing this project, and we want to look at it. I think it's a great idea.
Mhm.
The key will be, and this is my personal point of view, is that the money that we charge a resident, and I believe a commercial property can do it too, although I'm not, no, they can't, not yet, but they may be able to.
Okay.
It's coming soon. The money that we charge Heather Stocking for putting new windows in has to be at least competitive with the bank loan, and possibly, I would hope, a wee bit lower.
Okay.
But we're not there to make money on this, but we will have to recoup our admin costs. So whatever the rate is, and insurance, money is hardly, interest is very low right now.
Right.
So it could be a benefit to people who are willing to add to their property tax for an improvement in their property. And think about it, if you've got better windows, better furnaces, all that stuff, your property is going to be worth a bit more.
Right.
So you would probably not lose in the long run. But that's how the program works. And I'm certainly hoping that we'll be able to find a way to do this. It would be, I think, a real benefit to the community. And we think if we did do it, people would probably start slowly until word of mouth got around that this was a good idea.
Okay. I just got a message that it was 517,000 total for the looping project.
Oh, because that must be Rachel.
No, actually, it's Chris.
Okay.
352,477 from the municipal stimulus grant, and then $165,023 from capital budget.
Okay, so I'm a little out. I had 3 and 2, and it's 4 and 1 and 4 and a bit.
Yeah, but those are the numbers. So
yeah, those are preliminary numbers. We might add. Project
Okay.
is starting, but our budget isn't in stone yet because we haven't got the provincial numbers yet.
Okay.
We think we know what they are.
Yeah, it's
But
hard when
don't know.
you don't
We
know
don't
what the
know
bosses
absolutely.
are. Yeah,
Till that budget's passed, we don't
yeah,
know for sure because things do happen.
right. Going back to a little bit on the SIP program, so is there going to be a maximum amount that people can borrow?
I can't
Okay.
answer that right now. We're going to look at the details starting next council. I don't think we'll be in shape to actually pass it next meeting
Okay.
because I think we need to get more information. We need to know specifically what we're capable of doing because we don't want to get into something that turns out not to be good for us or everybody else in town. And not being good for us means it's not good for you either.
True.
But it's a very appealing program.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
definitely.
let's hope we can do this. But we're just starting.
Hmm.
It's coming to us next council, and we'll see.
Okay. It does sound like an interesting program, but yeah, if somebody wanted to, I was just wondering if there was a top, if somebody said, oh, you know what, I'm going to put in solar panels and upgrade my furnace and do all my windows and all this stuff. And yeah, we'll
Well,
see. We'll
if
see.
we would borrow a certain amount of money,
Okay.
and we would initially in the first year, it would be a, well, we think it'd be sort of a thumbnail. We're not going to know for sure. So if somebody wants to put $1 million worth of improvements into their house, and we got $400,000, it isn't going to happen.
Sure.
On the other hand, if somebody wants to do $400,000 worth of work, and do we give it to them and then borrow more money, or do we say no? We can only go up this far. Those are decisions we'll have to make in the future.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're going to borrow 400,000, you should just get a new house personally, but all right.
My house is worth 110,000. I'm borrowing 400,000 to fix it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
I could do that. Anyway.
Yeah. All right. The budget, we'll go back to that a little bit. You said it's still in the works.
We're pretty settled on it, but again, we need those final figures. Right now, there is no residential tax increase in there, but we are down $23,000 because of that. So we will have another look at that. And remember, $87,000 is for RCMP funding. That's on your taxes. It goes into an envelope and is sent to Edmonton. And I'm still angry that we cannot put that on a separate line so that you know where that money's going.
Mm-hmm.
It's a requisition and they won't allow us to treat it that way. So basically your taxes will be flat this year. Even if we got a 1% increase, the assessment went down. The guess right now is between 1% and 2%. Jeff hasn't got the final figures on that.
Jeff Daly is the.
Jeff Daly, yeah, he's our CFO.
Right.
If your house is worth less and you're paying the same rate you paid last year, your taxes are going down. If we want to maintain the tax level as same as last year, then we would have to do an increase that's equivalent to what the increase in assessment is. But that's me speaking.
Right.
I have counselors who are no way Jose, so we'll see where that one comes down in the end.
Right.
It's just that if we continue to keep taxes at this level or not increase by inflation, in 2 or 3 years, somebody's going to have to do a 5 to 7% increase.
Okay.
Unless you are willing to have your services reduced.
Okay. You said that you would be down, sorry, about 23,000?
I think it was 21, just
21? Okay. All right.
Where did I put that was on last
okay.
Tuesday's budget. You probably don't want me paging through things.
No. Well, my question is municipalities can't run a deficit, right?
Not in the budget, but you can still have a deficit, and they're changing their minds on that. It got a little weird. I think it's a bad idea for us to run a deficit because we haven't got the wherewithal to recoup the amount. So yeah, the budget last year for residential taxes was $2,123,000, and this year it's $2,102,000. If we keep with,
okay,
and that's mostly because of the reduction in assessment.
Okay.
But it's $23,000. It's, you know, it's
Mhm.
not quite, it's about a little more than half a mil. So a mil being
Right.
10%.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah,
Not million. It's the
no,
mil
mil
rate.
means thousand in
Right.
Latin
Right.
and or Greek. And so a
Right.
mil rate is 0.001.
Right.
So basically, if you have a $100,000 house and your mill rate is 8, you would be paying $800.
Right. Right. Okay. Just wanted to make sure
People will be much more interested in that when they get their tax
when
notice.
they get their
And I'll
taxes.
be
Yeah.
happy to explain it again.
Right. But yeah, that's where they talk about the mill rate and
Mhm.
everything. So
And they're
okay.
trying to get you to say the tax rate. And I'm thinking, okay, fine, but I've said mill rate my whole life. I'm not changing.
Right. So you had some good news with the Muskeg Creek trails.
Oh, yeah. Spectacularly good news. The committee has been talking to Bragg Creek in particular, who have an extensive trail system. And they said, you don't need your bridges to meet the same code as a road bridge because you're only having people on it. So what we were given was a $300,000 as the cheapest estimate to replace the bridge. The newest estimate, and this is only an estimate, is $59,000.
For each bridge, because there were two that we were looking at
Well, for
replacing.
each bridge, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Now, we're talking to the committee, and the committee are taking ownership of this. They're organized themselves. They're preparing to become a nonprofit, and they've got plans, and they've just taken the bull by the horns. I'm really happy with this group.
Good.
So probably this year, we would be looking at replacing one bridge. I think they said, I don't want to be absolutely firm about this, but we're not going to replace the bridge we took out.
Okay.
I remember saying to the group a while back, do we need 3 bridges? And if we do, how many bridges do we need and where should they go? Maybe because of the way this water's flowing, we might want to look at a different location. And they thought, oh, yeah, that's interesting. And I don't know if they've done anything with that so far, but that's where we are now. So
Okay.
is our man on that committee, and I'm really pleased. I'm hoping the university will become more involved since they own half the trails.
Mm-hmm. So you probably wouldn't know if this would require any sort of environmental impact study, anything like that, I would suspect.
I'm not sure. In a way, I doubt it because you're simply replacing something that's already there.
Okay.
It's over the water. It's not impacting the water.
Okay.
The bridges would be much longer.
Okay. So
because
even if they switch
problem.
location, you don't think that
I'm sorry?
even if they change location of the bridge?
I don't know that.
Okay. All right. Okay. We can find out. All
It's
right.
not a navigable waterway, but I do know that if you're getting closer to Highway 2, I think there's fish in there. So then you're getting into, I believe, Fisheries and Oceans Federal.
Okay.
So
it can be complicated. It can be very
yeah.
complicated. People who
Yeah.
aren't involved with politics on any level really don't see or understand how truly complicated things can be, because they're, like you said, as you get closer to the river, a whole other federal agency could be involved. So,
Well, they might be further up too. I'd have to get
yeah,
Tuatna. The Tuatna is considered a navigable waterway.
right. Yeah.
And it may have been at one time in its life. It certainly isn't now.
Not now, but yeah.
So when they put the bridge across the Tuatna, they replaced that bridge. That brought in Fisheries and Oceans, and
Right. Okay.
all kinds of plans had to be changed. That was not us.
Right. Have you heard, speaking of bridges, have you heard anything more about the replacing the wood deck bridge?
Well, I spoke to the MLA a few weeks ago, and I said I was expecting a tender before Christmas, and he said, yeah, he said it's still, as far as he knew, everything was still a go. It was just when.
Okay.
Remember, the province has spent a fair amount of money so far,
Hmm.
and we just did a land deal with them. They wanted 10 acres of, little bits of stuff here, a ditch here, a piece of grass that nobody could use here.
Right.
And in return, we were given a piece of land that we will use in the future, probably up near the missionary church.
Okay.
So you'll see a flat piece of land there. That was government land until recently.
Oh, okay.
If that's gone through yet, but that's the deal. Also, they have made a deal with the golf course and they paid a fair bit of money. I don't know what it is to them for use of part of their property.
Right. Because, yeah,
They've
the
already
bridge is
got,
this way and the new one will be over a little bit.
yeah, but they need a
Yeah.
staging area too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know when they're going to tender, but
Okay.
I mean, I was worried when I saw, infrastructure projects are going to be held back, they're going to be canceled, blah, blah, blah. But I think this one's too far along for them to do that.
Okay. I would think so too. Yeah. Yeah. It's at some point there's no point in canceling it. We're well past the planning stage. We're well past the environmental
Everything's done.
impact studies and yeah, exactly. Public
Everything's
input
done.
stage. Yeah. So
And several millions, as far as I know, have been spent, not little money.
I would expect so. Yeah, it's expensive. The Athabasca Watershed Council has gotten a new executive director.
Yes, her name is Petra Rowell.
Hmm.
She's just started this week. She was working with Janet Pomeroy, the outgoing executive director, last week. So she was at our last meeting, and she comes to us with many years' experience directly in watershed management. She's done consulting on watersheds. She's worked for the Department of Environment, amongst other things. So she's been in this world for probably around 30 years. Direct watershed, I think, is 15. So we've got we were really lucky to get somebody at this level to come into our watershed.
Okay. Did she worked here before, didn't she? Or,
Yes, she did. She worked on the Bales project. That, for those of you who don't know, that's Baptiste and Island Lake Stewardship Group on the two lakes there. And she's also did work for the Athabasca watershed. That's well before I became involved with that group. So that was a few years back.
okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so she knows the area. She knows our watershed. And the watershed takes in everybody from Fort Chip to Jasper.
Yes.
And they're doing a number of scientific projects. And we have two other staff members, one of whom is in charge of all the scientific projects. One big one they're doing right now is on the Pembina, which is connected to the Athabasca watershed. And then you get, again, beyond my pay grade. I'm not a scientist, so but they're looking out for the environmental security of the river and making sure that and it's a group that includes stakeholders from both industry and non-governmental organizations. So you've got everybody in the room trying to come up with solutions to problems that exist on the watershed and to highlight issues that are there that maybe nobody else knew about.
All right.
So they do good work.
They do. And then you had the chamber had their annual general meeting.
Yeah, which I couldn't attend, and I do
Okay.
apologize for that.
Okay.
Yes, and Tova was reelected, Tova Shweta, and congratulations, Tova.
Mhm.
And it looks like you've got a good executive going on there, and we'll look forward to working with you guys.
Okay. But speaking of the chamber, there is Rumble Alberta and History Check last year did a poker rally. They had I think it was 6 different routes set up. They've expanded it this year after it was so popular last year. They have over 50 routes now, including some off-road. And it comes through Athabasca again as part of the Northeast collection of routes. And they have an interesting program called Pay It Forward, where an entity, the town, for example, or another business like the Advocate, or an individual like Colleen and Heather could pool our money, and where you basically sponsor another business that will also be able to advertise with Rumble Alberta and take part in this. And what are your thoughts on this program?
I was just looking to see if it was on not this agenda, it was on the previous one. It looks like a very good program. I was involved with our tourism group years ago when I was a counselor, and it took some persuasion to get people to understand that if you advertise, and in those days it was books, people traveling look at those to plot their route out where they're going to go. So there's a modern version of that. And yes, it's a very good idea. It does get us known in areas we would not normally be known or thought about. We had Ida Edwards take that to the TED committee, thinking that since they do tourism, that would be the ideal spot. But yeah, I think that, and it wasn't that much money, if I remember correctly.
It's like $300 to sponsor
Something like that, which is minuscule, actually. So I would be certainly in favor of doing that, but I thought it might be better through TED, because then you can highlight the town as well as areas in the county. So
yeah, definitely. But
I remember seeing them come through last year.
It
was a farmer's market day, and I was wondering who all these middle-aged bikers were.
Yeah, it's you can go as a group, certainly, if you're practicing distancing, but the premise of it is you can take your time and you can do the route at your own time. It's not a specific day or over a weekend. It's actually 4.5 months you have to do this. So yeah, it was interesting.
Has anybody thought of getting in touch with Hog Flats?
I would actually, I don't know. Sheila Willis, who's the creator of the History Check app, is part of this. I can reach out and
Hog Flats is our motorcycle,
right?
And they do a big event every year, and those people would be very interested. Maybe they're already part of it, but seems to me it would be useful to contact them.
Yeah, well, yeah, no brainer to get them involved. So definitely, I think I know for sure Neighbors Pub took part in the last one. I think it would be good if other businesses took part, because they are sending people through Athabasca. So
and they're going to stop and they're going to look in stores and they're going to boo around and see what's available. Yes, certainly.
Yeah, and also because it's a poker rally, they're going to have different things set up. So I did do an interview with Sheila Willis. We will be doing an article about this. She said, for example, one challenge could be you have to have a receipt from 5 different participating businesses in a certain town. They're pushing people into your business. So it would be a good idea, I think, for businesses.
Yeah, well, Chamber of Commerce, take note on that as well.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to Ida to see what's happened at TED on that, because we didn't have time to report that last night.
Okay.
I know that TELUS has asked for a letter of support to get federal government funding to improve internet access.
Oh, okay. All right.
So yeah, we're going to write the letter, but no, never mind, Colleen, I won't go there.
Didn't ExploreNet and MCSNet also, or maybe that was
I'm sure they all are.
Okay. Good news, right? Better internet is always good.
Better internet, but yes, it's good.
Pandemic has certainly highlighted the inadequacies in rural Alberta.
Well, it's interesting because we do Zoom meetings, and every meeting, 1 or 2 have to click off and then come back on their phone or do it another way. The only one who has no trouble whatsoever is me. I don't know why. Even the town has more problems than I do, and I'm just across the street.
Mhm.
So I have obviously got the sweet spot. Um,
Well, now the value of your house just went up now that everybody knows that.
Good. I won't tell them where the horrors are in this house. Anyway, um, no, there is a new tower going up by Rupert's Reservoir, and we're hoping that will help with internet connectivity as well. But I know Cornwall is a real problem. And He's Estates has some problems depending on which house you're in. It's not the house that's the problem, it's where it's located,
Right. Yeah.
obviously.
Right.
So, yeah. But I have this little street here. I don't think we have any problems. I don't know why. I don't see any tower from my windows.
Hmm. Yeah.
My son's on the South Hill, AKA Old EPC Hill, and he switched to another provider and he said he can see their tower and he's had no problems since.
Okay.
So who knows? I
It
don't
depends.
really know that. But
Speaking of David, I heard that you and your son might be hosting something in conjunction with the
oh,
library.
well, Cheryl Frazier is trying to set up an online trivia night. And I think trying to work with the Legion, but I'm not sure about that. And they asked David and I to host it.
Okay. That could
And
be
that, yeah,
interesting.
we would enjoy it. But then they said, well, you make the questions up. And I said, no, not on your. And the questions I'd ask, the only the ones I could answer, nobody else could. So,
Right. Yeah.
you know, what's the color of my duvet? And my son is very good at this kind of thing. So I think, yeah, but I'll let him do the music if we do the music round because I don't understand most of this music. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, he is a musician as well.
Mhm.
Okay. Those were all the questions I had. I don't see any questions on Facebook, but we have had people tune in the entire time. So thank you very much for joining us for
Well, that's
Town
great.
Talk Live.
I can't see anything here that is of major interest. We had a really boring meeting the other day, so boring for you, not necessarily for us.
Right.
We did get one letter from High River asking us to support their letter to the Premier on stopping coal mining. And we got a letter from Mackenzie County who wants everything opened up. So we tend to, in terms of COVID, and actually we're unanimous on this, we will support Dr. Hinshaw and the province and their regulations.
Okay.
So,
Speaking of Dr. Hinshaw and regulations, has the town had any word on vaccinations?
no.
Okay. Do they,
I
would
think
they
we'd be the
inform you?
second last to know,
Okay.
the last one being the person getting the jab. I do know that Pleasant Valley Lodge is getting done, starting right away.
Okay.
And they would go through the health people here who would then contact us.
Okay.
But I have not got anything from the government saying, first we do these guys and these guys and these guys. So
Okay.
we really just don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, good news. If Pleasant Valley Lodge, then we can probably extrapolate that the other extended care and.
Well, now that the company seems to have gotten its act together, by the way, I mean, I've been following why doesn't the government blah, 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 have all these vaccinations? If you look at newspapers from various parts of the world, every country is saying exactly the same thing, not just us.
Right.
You can say there's been these mistakes and those mistakes, and that may very well be true, but the problem has been the companies did not have enough capacity.
There's a lot of people that need vaccinations, and then with the Pfizer, is it Pfizer? You need two.
Yeah, you need two. So
Yeah.
you get one, and then the vaccine doesn't come. Do you
Mhm.
start over again or what? No, it's appalling.
Yeah.
But there are vaccinations, and with luck, that will give us the end of the road. And they do think that the vaccinations are working with this new variant. I mean,
Oh, fingers crossed. Yeah.
that's where the real concern is because although it's not any more deadly, it's much more infectious, which of course leads to more deadly simply because more people have it.
Right.
So be careful out there, folks. Don't do stupid things.
Hmm. Yeah, I know it's tiring. We're all tired. Please wear your mask. Please sanitize.
Yeah, because we
Please
don't need to
hand
go through
wash.
this again and again and again, which is
Right.
what's going to happen if we have a significant number of people who, oh, well, it's just me.
Hmm.
It's just my neighbor. It's fine.
Right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think most of us do that.
Probably more. And being in a small town in rural Alberta, you probably feel a little more safe, which does let your guard down a bit.
Well, we are a little more safe, but
Hmm.
it only takes one. I mean,
That's right.
we got notice, and it was in the paper. There was 2 in the hospital here
Mhm.
from I don't know if they were. I just had a cat follow me. Apologies.
Yes, yeah. So yes, we have had a few cases. We have unfortunately had one death, but
Yes. So, oh, well, I didn't know that person. Well,
mhm,
right. I just found out my son-in-law has COVID. It's not serious. He was very sick for a while, but he's getting better. Uh,
mhm.
I wasn't expecting somebody in their early 40s,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and he said, hey, I don't go anywhere.
Hmm.
I'm working at home. The only thing I do is take groceries from the guy.
Right. Hmm.
So please be careful.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose anyone else, and we don't want anyone to have long-term effects from this,
Hmm.
which apparently is not that uncommon.
Yeah.
So that's
All right.
a happy note.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's good to we just saw a little bit of the cat there, I think, jumped up.
Oh,
That's all right. That's fine.
I have 2 cats, and they're evil.
Oh, wow. Yes, cats are
And that
evil. That's why they're
talking about the horrors
fantastic.
of the house, the door doesn't latch properly in this room. So I put what I call my elephants. They're bookends, so
Mm.
bookends, and some of the meetings you hear thump, 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 and the cat trying to break through the door. Anyway, with
All
that,
right. Okay. Well, thank you very much. And
you're quite
again,
welcome. And please, any questions you have, feel free to contact me. My email is, well, it's mayorpowell@athabasca.ca, but my phone number is in the on the webpage there. So,
all right. All right. Nice chatting with
okay,
you.
same time
All right.
next month.
Yes. Okay.
Okay,
Goodbye,
bye-bye.
everybody. Bye.